The kids' toy industry makes billions, convincing parents to buy pricey, educational toys with dozens of functions and flashing lights. But neuroscientists and early childhood educators say, the simpler the toy, the more it develops a child's brain. Today, we look at 15 simple, cheap things that work better than any trendy new gadgets, and some of them will surely surprise you. First, simple puzzles with large pieces. Puzzles are not just fun, they are a powerful tool for brain development that works on many levels at once. When a child puts a puzzle together, they learn to see a whole split into parts and to rebuild it. This is a basic skill of abstract thinking. Searching for the right piece among many builds, visual scanning, and attention to detail. Skills critical for reading later. Turning a piece different ways to find the right position builds spatial thinking and an understanding of object orientation. This is the same math that will be needed for geometry later. Attempts to fit a piece in the wrong place and finding the mistake teach trial and error, the basis of scientific thinking. The child forms a hypothesis, tests it, corrects it, a full cycle of inquiry. Puzzles also build patience and the ability to work on a task that is not solved instantly. Training in self-control and persistence. Start with puzzles of 4 to 6 large pieces with bright pictures at 2 years. Gradually increase the difficulty. Wooden puzzles with knobs are handy for small hands and build the grasp needed for writing. Puzzles with animals, vehicles, letters teach categories and expand vocabulary at the same time. One quality puzzle set gives months of development for little money. Second, pots, lids, and wooden spoons. Kitchenware is a ready lab for the study of sound, cause and effect, and the physical properties of objects. When the child hits a pot with a spoon, he is not just making noise, he is studying acoustics and finding that different materials give different sounds. A metal pot sounds different from a plastic container. A wooden spoon makes a different sound than a metal one. This is a basic understanding of physics formed through direct experience. Pots of different sizes teach the concepts of bigger and smaller. Nested inside each other, they show size relations. Lids must be matched to pots by size. This is a task of matching and problem solving. Stacking pots inside one another develops spatial thinking and coordination. Filling pots with water, sand, or grain gives an understanding of volume and weight. The child experiments. How much will fit? What will happen if it spills over the edge? This is physics through play. Playing with real items that adults use every day gives the child a sense of competence and inclusion in real life. This is not a toy. It is an adult thing that has been entrusted to him. Give the child the lower cabinet with safe dishes and watch how he explores for hours. Third, stones, sticks, and natural materials. A walk outside gives access to an endless variety of materials that beat any toys for developmental potential. Stones of different sizes, shapes, textures, colors are a ready material for sorting, counting, building, and creative play. A child collects stones, and each stone is unique, unlike identical plastic toys. Smooth stones feel nice in the hand, building tactile sense. Rough ones stimulate nerve endings. Laying patterns from stones grows math thinking and creativity at the same time. Sticks are a universal tool that becomes a sword, a magic wand, a fishing rod, a pointer, a building material. Play with sticks builds gross motor skills and coordination. You must control a long object in space without hitting others. Pine cones, acorns, leaves, feathers. Each natural material has unique properties to study. Pine cones can be taken apart into scales, building fine motor skills. Leaves can be compared by shape and color, learning botany in a natural way. Natural materials are free, endlessly varied, and teach the child to watch and value the world around them instead of demanding new purchases. Fourth, water in any container. Water is a substance that fascinates children of all ages and cultures, and not without reason. Play with water builds an intuitive grasp of physical laws that cannot be gained from books or videos. Water pours, spills, flows, drips, soaks, evaporates. Each property is a discovery. A child pours water from a large container into a small one and finds it will overflow. An understanding of volume. They lower objects into water. Some sink, others float. Basic physics of density. They mix water with sand, soil, soap, and see how the properties change. An intro to chemistry. Pouring water between containers develops eye-hand coordination and control of movement. Play with water calms the nervous system. The flow and unpredictability of water are meditative. Many children in a state of stress or overexcitement calm down simply by watching or touching water. Add cups of different sizes, funnels, sponges, droppers. You get a science lab for pennies. Water play can be set up in the bath, in a tub on the floor, outdoors in summer. The only downside is wet floors, but that is a small price for hours of absorbed exploration and learning. Fifth, sand or any loose substance. Sand has unique properties that make it an ideal material for sensory and thinking development of small children. Dry sand slips through the fingers, wet sand holds shape. One substance with opposite properties depending on conditions. This teaches flexible thinking and the idea that things can change. Digging in sand, pouring, sifting, develop fine motor skills and hand strength needed for writing later. Making forms from wet sand is sculpture and spatial thinking. The child plans, builds, sees the result, corrects, a full cycle of the creative process. Burying and unearthing objects in sand teaches object permanence and cause and effect links. Sand can be measured, poured, compared by amount. Early math through direct experience. Play with sand naturally calms. Repetitive movements and tactile sensations regulate the nervous system. If no access to a sandbox, use grains, flour, or homemade kinetic sand. Pour into a large container. Add spoons, cups, small toys for burying. A child can play with this for an hour or more, fully absorbed in the process without need for electronic entertainment. Sixth, fabric scraps of different textures. A collection of fabrics of varied textures, sizes, and colors is a rich sensory experience and material for creative play. Silk is slippery and cool, wool warm and prickly, velour soft and pleasant, burlap coarse. Each fabric gives unique tactile sensations that build finger sensitivity. Telling textures by touch grows neural links in the brain that handle perception. Large pieces of fabric turn into capes, skirts, superhero cloaks, the base for role play and the growth of imagination. A child makes a character, invents a story, lives out different roles, developing emotional intelligence. Fabrics can be tied, folded, wrapped around things, fine motor skills, and an understanding of material properties. Sheer fabrics create neat light effects. Heavy ones are good for building shelters and playhouses. By draping a table or chairs with fabric, a child makes a personal space, a den where they can be alone and feel safe. Scraps can be used for sorting by color, size, and texture. Math skills through play. It is easy to gather a fabric collection. Old clothes, sewing leftovers, cheap fabrics on sale. Keep them in a basket the child can reach, and watch how simple scraps turn into endless stories. Seventh, plastic containers and lids. Food containers found in every home are a ready educational game that teaches logic, problem-solving, and spatial thinking. Matching lids to containers is a classic matching task that seems simple but requires analysis of size, shape, and attempts. The child tries different lids, finds one does not fit, tries the next. This is the scientific method of trial and error. Containers of different sizes can be nested into each other like matryoshka dolls. Understanding size relations and order. Empty containers become building blocks. You can build towers, walls, and structures, developing balance and coordination. Filled with water, sand, or small items, they teach concepts of weight and volume. Transparent containers let you see the contents without opening. This develops observational skills. Containers with latches, screw-on lids, or that open in different ways. Each type develops different hand skills and an understanding of mechanisms. Playing hide-and-seek with small toys and containers teaches object permanence. The item has not disappeared, it is just hidden. Sorting items into containers develops categorization and organizational skills. Best of all, containers are nearly indestructible, washable, and free if you use what you already have at home. Eighth, ordinary paper for tearing and crumpling. Expensive coloring books and drawing pads often lie untouched because the child is scared by the need to make something correct and pretty. Ordinary paper, newspapers, unneeded documents, wrapping paper, is freedom from fear of spoiling. Tearing paper into pieces builds hand strength and control over small movements that are vital for future writing. It is also a powerful way to release tension and aggression in a socially acceptable way. The child is angry. Give him a stack of newspapers to tear. Crumpling paper into balls builds grip strength and coordination of both hands working together. Crumpled paper becomes snowballs for indoor play, filler for boxes, material for crafts. Large sheets of paper spread on the floor give space for drawing with the whole body. The child can crawl, stretch, draw with big moves, developing gross motor skills. Making collages from torn paper teaches composition and color without needing to be able to draw. Folding paper, first steps to origami and to understanding symmetry. Paper airplanes teach that shape affects function. Different folds give different flight. Paper is available, safe and less glossy with toxic inks, and creates endless possibilities without instructions. 9th. Pillows, blankets, and soft furniture. Sofa pillows and blankets turn into building material for forts, tunnels, hills, and caves, developing gross motor skills and spatial planning. A child pulls a heavy pillow across the room. Serious physical work that strengthens the whole body. Balancing on pillows laid on the floor like stones across a river develops coordination and movement planning. Jumping from the couch onto pillows is a controlled risk that teaches judging distance and jump force. This is important for building confidence in their body. Building a pillow fort requires planning. Which pillows go down for the base, which go on top for the roof, how to make an entrance. It is engineering thinking and problem solving. A blanket hide creates a private space where the child feels control and safety, important for emotional regulation. Wrapping in a blanket like a burrito gives deep pressure that calms the nervous system, a natural sensory therapy. Tugging a blanket, pillow fights. Social play that builds an understanding of boundaries and force. Sorting pillows by size for building teaches sequencing and mathematical relations. Best of all, after play, everything goes back in place with no mess and no need to store special toys. 10th. Real safe tools. Toy tools are bright and safe but useless, and kids quickly see this and lose interest. Real tools adapted for small hands give real experience and a sense of competence you can't get from a fake. A safe hammer and nails with big heads driven into soft wood or foam develop eye-hand coordination and an understanding of hit force. A child learns to control the tool, aim, and adjust force, skills that carry over to other areas. A screwdriver with large screws teaches twisting motions and builds wrist strength needed for writing. A plastic butter knife lets one take part in real food prep, cutting soft vegetables, fruit, dough. This is a practical life skill and math, dividing into parts, counting pieces. A tape measure or ruler shows measuring and numbers through hands-on use. A child measures furniture, toys, self. Math becomes alive and useful. Using real tools under supervision teaches safety and responsibility. It's not a toy. You must be careful. The feeling of being trusted with a real thing raises self-esteem and motivates learning to use it right. Start with the safest tools and add new ones slowly as skills grow. 11th. Empty egg cartons and bottles. Cardboard egg cartons are a ready-made sorting system and a material for many developmental games at zero cost. The cells are the ideal size for sorting small items, buttons, pebbles, beads, pom-poms, developing fine motor skills and math classification skills. A child sorts by color, size, type. This is the basis of logical thinking and organizing information. Placing one item in each cell teaches one-to-one correspondence, a basic counting skill. Egg cartons become a palette for mixing paints. Each cell its own color, and they do not need to be washed, they can be thrown away. An upside-down carton turns into a building material, or a base for crafts. Plastic bottles with caps are another free resource with huge potential. Unscrewing and screwing the caps builds hand strength and the rotational movements needed for many skills. Bottles filled with water and glitter create a calming sensory bottle for emotion regulation. Bottles of different sizes filled to different levels create a musical instrument. Each makes its own sound when tapped. Empty bottles become pins for bowling, developing gross motor skills and an understanding of cause and effect. Cut bottles turn into funnels, scoops, and sand molds. One trip to the store gives material for weeks of developmental play. 12th. Coloring books and colored pencils. Coloring is not just fun, but a complex training of the brain and hands that prepares a child for writing and develops dozens of skills at once. Holding a pencil with the right grip strengthens small finger muscles and builds the control needed for forming letters later. Coloring inside the lines teaches precise movements and hand-eye coordination. The child must see the line and stop the hand in time. This requires concentration and self-control. Choosing colors develops the ability to make decisions and plan. Which color goes where, what matches, what looks nice. Mixing colors by overlapping strokes shows that blue plus yellow makes green. A practical grasp of color theory. Coloring calms the nervous system. Monotonous movements and focus on the process help regulate emotions and reduce anxiety. Many kids use coloring to calm down after stress. A finished colored picture gives a sense of achievement and pride. I started. I kept going. I finished. It turned out pretty. This builds persistence and belief in one's abilities. Choose coloring books with large, simple drawings for little ones, gradually moving to more detailed ones. Thick triangular pencils are easier for small hands than thin round ones. Coloring books with favorite characters, animals, and vehicles motivate more than abstract patterns. 13th. Mirror at child level. A safe mirror fixed at the child's eye level is a tool for developing self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and social skills that is often underestimated. Babies and toddlers are fascinated by their reflection because the brain learns that this is me, not another child. This is a critical stage in the development of self-identity. The child pulls faces in the mirror and sees how his face changes. This is learning facial expression and emotion. He learns to recognize what different facial expressions mean, the basis of empathy. The mirror lets him see himself from the side while dressing, combing, or brushing his teeth. Development of self-care and independence. Dancing and movement in front of the mirror build body awareness in space and coordination. The child sees how his arms and legs move and learns to control them. The mirror doubles the play space visually. The room seems bigger and more interesting. Play with the reflection teaches the concept of symmetry. The right hand in the mirror is the left. Talking with the reflection develops speech in a safe setting where there is no pressure from a real partner. The mirror is also a tool for calming. A child in stress can look at his reflection and regulate his emotions by seeing himself. Install a safe acrylic mirror on the wall at the child's height and watch how much time he spends exploring himself. 14th. Plasticine and modeling dough. Modeling with plasticine is one of the most powerful activities for developing fine motor skills, creativity, and spatial thinking at once. Kneading plasticine in the hands strengthens the finger muscles and builds grip strength, which is critical for writing, buttoning, and tying shoelaces. This is serious physical work for small hands. Pinching off small pieces develops the thumb and forefinger pinch, the same one used to hold a pencil. Rolling snakes and balls teaches control of pressure and movement. Too much pressure will flatten them, too little will not roll them. Making figures from plasticine builds three-dimensional thinking. The child must picture a solid object and recreate it from the material. This is preparation for geometry and engineering. Mixing colors while modeling shows how new shades form. Practical color theory. Modeling calms and helps express emotions through creativity. The child can shape what they feel but cannot say in words. The modeling process develops planning. What to make, where to start, which parts to join. Mistakes are easy to fix. Squeeze and start again. This teaches that failure is not the end. Choose soft plasticine or modeling dough for toddlers, firmer for older children. 15th. Simple construction sets with large pieces. Construction sets are not just a toy, They are a tool for developing engineering thinking, spatial skills, and problem-solving skills. When a child builds with blocks, they learn basic physics principles: balance, gravity, stability of the structure. A tower falls if the base is narrow. This understanding comes from direct experience, not from explanations. Connecting parts develops fine motor skills and hand strength. You must fit parts right and apply force to snap them. Planning a build develops the brain's executive functions: what to build, which parts are needed, in what order to join them. Searching for the right part among many develops visual scanning and attention. Following assembly instructions teaches the sequence of actions and how to read diagrams, basic skills for any learning. Free building without instructions develops creativity and imagination. The child makes what they imagined. Tearing down a build and building again teaches that the process is more important than the result, and that mistakes are normal. Playing with a set in pairs or groups develops social skills: trading parts, joint planning, compromise. Start with large, soft blocks for toddlers, gradually move to smaller parts and more complex systems. One quality construction set gives years of development and endless possibilities.